Jay here, Stretford, Paddock. This is the Paper Talk. As you can see, we're in the studio in the heart of Manchester City Centre. So that means one thing. Get involved in the comments. It's live. Get involved in the chat. Hit subscribe. Hit share. Give us a like. All that stuff. We're going to be talking about Erik Ten Hag, obviously, because it looks like talks are underway. We're also going to be talking about Harry Maguire. Seems like we're talking about Harry Maguire a lot lately, and not always for the right reasons. There's another story doing the rounds about Manchester United's captain, so we'll be getting into that as well. And an update on Carlo Ancelotti. Do you remember, or you may not know, you may not have watched it, but we did a video the other night live on, was it Wednesday night, I think it was, me and Joe, where we were talking about the fact that Fergie allegedly, reportedly, potentially wanted Ancelotti or looked at Ancelotti as one of the managers that could come in and take over from Ralph Rangnick in the summer. And Carlo Ancelotti has responded to that. So get involved and let us know what you think about all those stories, any of those stories, any stories you may have. If you've heard anything, you know anything, let us know. If you're ITK, as they say, get involved in the chat. Right, let's get on to it. Let's start with the Ancelotti one. So there's a story doing the rounds. I think this was late last night. I think the Metro had it and a couple of others saying that Real Madrid boss Carlo Ancelotti would be open. Not a great, emphatic, sort of set in stone sentence, is it? Would be open to taking the Manchester United job this summer and has long held a desire to take over the reins at Old Trafford, according to reports, obviously. It then goes on to say United's hierarchy are beginning to ramp up their efforts to find a new permanent manager with the likes of Ajax coach Erik Ten Hag and PSG's Mauricio Pochettino, the two big names on their shortlist. I will be getting to the Ten Hag story shortly. But yeah, it looks like we've got a bit of a shortlist, and Carlo Ancelotti could be on it, could not. Depends. There's sort of varying reports. On the one hand, he's the most successful manager probably on the planet, maybe other than Pep. I think he's won more Champions Leagues, I think, than Pep. He's won 3, hasn't he? Various leagues. I think he's won the Bundesliga. He's won leagues in, I think he's won one in France. He's won, obviously, leagues in Italy. He's won the double here in England, of course. He won the Premier League, let's not forget, in 2010. So he's a very, very successful manager. He's also, I think he's 62 years old, so he's not what would be seen as a long-term option, where someone like Erik Ten Hag or Mauricio Pochettino would be seen as more long-term, even though we don't tend to have long-term managers. We might try to pretend we do. We gave David Moyes a 6-year contract, didn't we? He's on a 6-year contract. He's best mates with Fergie, but it didn't really work out. However, Carlo Ancelotti does have Fergie championing him, so make of that what you will. It goes on to say, Ancelotti's relationship with Cristiano Ronaldo is also seen as a big selling point, with the two having enjoyed plenty of success at Real Madrid together. There were even rumours over the summer that Ancelotti wanted to bring Ronaldo back to the Bernabeu, though the club could not afford a deal, and it was United who swooped in. So there's lots of ifs and buts and maybes there in it. I feel like the chance for Ancelotti to come to United is gone. I think that might have happened maybe after Fergie. That could have been around that era. I know, obviously, he was doing the rounds when he was at PSG, he was at Bayern Munich, he was at Real Madrid, obviously, as well. But I feel around that time might have been the time for Ancelotti to come to Manchester United. I don't think it is now. And I don't know whether his time at Everton has maybe dimmed his lustre a little bit. He's still one of the great managers, and he's still one of the most successful managers. But he left Napoli, didn't he? I mean, he left Napoli on I think they won 4-0 when he left him. I think that was his last game in the Champions League. But he left, I won't say under a cloud, didn't all end well. He left there, went to Everton. Everton started off really well. I remember some Evertonians thinking, I could be in with a title challenge here. And then it went drastically wrong. Now, you can look at Everton and go, it's a bit of a poison chalice. I think Everton's one of the few clubs that seems to be more poorly run than Manchester United. I know they're not in the debt that we are, but the way the club's run it, so, well, you could say almost as bad as United, maybe. It's on a par. Benitez went there. He's been a bit of a disaster now. I've got Frank Lampard in. So you can make it what you will, sort of how much you can judge someone on the time at Everton. Ancelotti, though, wasn't a success there. He is now back at Real Madrid, and he's been linked with the Manchester United job. Should he leave the Bernabeu in the summer? The Bernabeu in the summer, which it looks like he could be. I just don't see it happening. Let us know in the comments what you think. Mank Mike says, we get Ancelotti. We're in the same boat 12 months down the line again. We need stability. That's Mank Mike 93. Glenn F says, what's the score with Ten Hag? Have I missed out? We'll get to Ten Hag in a minute. Tim Collins says, no chance. Just no chance. Joseph Shidudu says, Ten Hag, please. And Bryn Chaser says, I'd be willing to down to Ten Hag before Poch. I think I think he's trying to say he preferred Ten Hag there. Manchester Maverick, which I love that name, by the way, says, Ancelotti is a great manager, but not for us at this moment. Ten Hag is the one. We'll get to Ten Hag shortly, but before we get to Ajax's manager, let's talk about Manchester United's captain. Now, it's not a happy camp with all things Harry Maguire at the minute, is it? He just doesn't seem to be able to sort of win everyone over. There's always these sort of stories doing the rounds about his place in the team, the captaincy. There was these rumours or reports. I think it was a couple of weeks ago that there had been talks between him, Ronaldo, and Ralf Rangnick. Ralf Rangnick came out in support of him and said that he was, going to stay as captain to the end of the season. But it's still not quashed all these rumours of unrest within the camp. The latest one, and this is in the Daily Mail. This says, this is from Sammy Mockbell and Chris Wheeler for the Daily Mail have written this. It's taken 2 of them to write it. Same amount of journalists as it took to break the Watergate scandal. Make that what you will. It says, Harry Maguire's future at Manchester United will be under the microscope this summer as they chase world-class centre-back, following claims his teammates are questioning his place in the side. Now, it goes on to say that basically just nuts and bolts, he was rested and all this other stuff that we know. Goes on also to say that Rangnick has been publicly supportive of Maguire, but it is understood that a new centre-back will be high on United's list of targets in the summer. We have been linked with Antonio Rudiger, haven't we? Who's out of contract at Chelsea in the summer. Maybe that could be an option, or it goes on to say that in this article, funnily enough. But yeah, it says it's been complicated by the fact that United's captain is the most expensive centre-back in the world after his £8 million move. And then it goes on to say, and this is the sort of the juicy bit, if you will, reports on Thursday claimed that United players are privately, well, not doing a very good job of doing anything privately, are they? It's plastered all over the Daily Mail, are privately questioning Maguire's place in a team and believe that his performances are not up to standard. Sportsmail understands, that's always doing a bit of heavy lifting, isn't it, that Maguire has upset a number of teammates this season by openly blaming them on the pitch for making mistakes when his own form has been so erratic, and by some of his critical post-match comments to the media. United and Maguire have dismissed speculation over a power struggle between the former Hull player and Cristiano Ronaldo. It sounds a bit mean now, doesn't it, when you say it like that? The former Hull player and Cristiano Ronaldo. Wow, well, that's one extreme to the other. With Rangnick insisting that his captain will keep the armband until the end of the season. But this situation beyond that is less clear as United prepared to replace Rangnick with a permanent manager and embark on a busy summer in the transfer market. Yeah, I don't think Maguire's form's been good enough this season. And I like Harry Maguire. I think he gets a little bit of undue stick. I think the £80 million price tag, it's not his fault we overpaid for him. And we did overpay. He was never an £80 million player, ever. And we paid that, and you can argue we shouldn't have paid it, or we had to pay it, we needed him, whatever. But that's not down to him. That's down to the price that Leicester put on it and the fact that Manchester United were willing to pay the £80 million. He's also suffered from the fact he's been here 2 years, we haven't won out. Now, he's not alone in that. We've had other players that have been here during that time. But again, he's looked at, he is the captain. It's not been a successful period of time, at least in terms of trophies for Manchester United, although we have had a top 3 and a top 2 finish, so it's not been all doom and gloom, I hasten to add, but, losing 4 or 5 semi-finals and a final, whatever it is, with Maguire in the team, it's not good enough. It's not all down to him by any stretch, but he's going to become a bit of a lightning rod for criticism because of the price tag, because he's the captain. And his performances on the pitch this season haven't been good enough. I thought he had a hangover from the Euros. I thought earlier on this season, some of his performances were just woeful. He wasn't alone, but he was part of the problem. They have improved a little bit, but I still don't think we're there yet. I still don't think we're at the stage where you can say that Harry Maguire, for me, his performance to the levels a Manchester United player or a Manchester United defender or a Manchester United captain especially should be. And I probably wouldn't pick him if it was up to me. I'd put Victor Lindelof and Rafael Varane as my centre-back partnership. I think those two are having better seasons than Harry Maguire. And I'm a little bit surprised that Ralf Rangnick didn't use his advantage in this situation where he didn't buy Harry Maguire. He doesn't owe him anything. He didn't use that to his advantage, where he could have said, okay, I'm going to take Harry Maguire out of the team because I can do that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer would have been hammered if he'd have took a player that he spent £80 million on out of the team. Ralf Rangnick can do that, but he's not doing it. Luke Wise says, Maguire has never been good ever. I don't agree with that. Mohamed Abbas says, hangover from the Euros. How about the Italian players? You're right. I mean, you can look at it and you can go, well, why has he had a hangover for the from the Euros? But he did. I don't know, the reasons for it, but there was definitely a drop in performances from so many of the England players, especially United ones, following the Euros. Hit the like button. We've got 71 likes. Let's get to 200 likes. Come on. Hit that like button if you're watching. There's over 500 of you watching, and we haven't got even remotely close to 100 likes, which isn't good enough. Tim Collins says influence from upstairs. He's saying, I get you saying there, maybe Ralph Rangnick, someone's had a word with him and said, listen, we paid a lot of money for Maguire. He needs to play. Would Ralph Rangnick stomach that? If you come in as a Man United manager, are you going to be told what to do from above, or are you going to be allowed to pick your team? I think Ralph Rangnick picks the team he wants to pick. I don't think anyone's telling him who to pick. So I think he chooses to pick Harry Maguire, and I just wonder how long that can continue for. I think, we've got some big games coming up. You've got the Manchester Derby. You've also got the Atletico Madrid game, second leg coming up. Those are massive games, those. And if Harry Maguire doesn't perform in those games, there's going to be some more questions asked around him. I don't know how valid these rumours and reports are about his teammates questioning him. Don't know a lot about the journalists who are involved. I think it's, was it Sammy Mockbell and Chris Wheeler. I think I've seen Chris Wheeler a couple of times, but I don't really know them well. So I couldn't tell you whether I believe that story or not. I know they're obviously, backing it, but we'll have to wait and see. It wouldn't surprise me because we've had so many leaks this season. And there's so many players who just reportedly, and you have to believe some of it, that reportedly players aren't happy. But you never know. It might just be, as Gary DeBola says, just journos taking an opportunity to kick someone when they're down. He's been woeful, and they're taking advantage. Mank93 says, just paper talk. This is our club. Really does sell papers, don't we? And I totally agree with you, Jay. It's not his fault, but if he's not up to it, he should do what's best and step aside. I don't agree with that bit. I agree with everything you said there, and I understand. But I don't think he should step aside. The last thing I would want to see is a United captain saying, or a United player saying, I don't fancy it. He should want to play for Manchester United. He should expect to play for Manchester United. He should be trying to play for Manchester United, and he should be giving his all to play for Manchester United. And he should want that armband as well. I don't think he should be giving that up. But the manager should be making those tough decisions. And if the manager thinks it's for the benefit of the team that Harry Maguire doesn't start, then he should be making that decision. He should be doing what's best for Manchester United, not what's best for Harry Maguire. So we'll see what happens with that one. I think this Sunday could be massive. It really could. I think that this is a game where if Harry Maguire does have a good game, that could maybe start shifting a bit more of the narrative in his favour. While on the flip side, if he doesn't, he's just going to be getting more and more pelters because, he's had a lot on it this season. He's had a lot to deal with. But then when you play for Manchester United, that's what happens. You're going to get criticism, you're going to get attention. If you're a Manchester United captain, it's going to happen. Erik Ten Hag. So this is the story doing rounds. I saw this yesterday evening. Jonathan Schrager, who's been on this channel, is very reliable. We had him on the brew. He does his own work and he does his research. And he says Ten Hag has been contacted by United to find out about his situation. Now, let's face facts. That's not the most unlikely scenario. We know Ten Hag is on our list. We know Manchester United are interested in him because every single person who reports on Manchester United has said so. It's as clear as the day is long that Manchester United are at least looking at Erik Ten Hag. Whether he's favourite or not, you can dispute that amongst yourselves, whether you think it's going to be Mauricio Pochettino, whether there's an outside chance of someone like Carlos Ancelotti. Even Luis Enrique was being linked. I know he's got the World Cup coming up, but there could be some sort of scenario where Ralph Rangnick carries on as manager till after the World Cup. Whatever. We know that Erik Ten Hag is on our list, and now the club have been contacted. He's been contacted by the club. Now, we had the story a few weeks ago that there was a bit of a consensus forming amongst certain people in the hierarchy that Ten Hag was the best man for the job. I think it was the likes of John Murtaugh was one of the names mentioned, maybe even one of the Glazers, Joel Glazer, who cares, they're all the same, aren't they? The Ten Hag was becoming the more fancied of the options, where in the past it looked like Mauricio Pochettino was favourite, and in many ways he might still be the bookies' favourite. I'm not even sure, I've not checked the odds. But there was a sort of feeling that, Ten Hag's the man. Now we've made a bit of contact with him. It looks like he's gettable. I know he's done well at Ajax, but you've always felt that if he does really well there, he will move on. I know it's gone a little bit sour with the Overmars situation, and you wonder how long he is going to stick around at Ajax because he has a great team. He had a great team. He lost a few players. He's rebuilt it. He's got another great team. But you think that sooner or later, one of the bigger clubs are going to come for him. and which bigger club than Manchester United? I would like to see Erik Ten Hag. He's my personal choice. There you go. I've just got the odds up there. Just generic odds from bookies. Mauricio Pochettino is 7-4. Erik Ten Hag is 3-1. Brendan Rodgers is third favourite at 6-1. Why? Why is he third favourite? He's having a disastrous season, but he's third favourite for the Manchester United job, which tells you about the pool of managers that are available. Antonio Conte, fourth favourite. Antonio Conte. Think you've got dramas at Spurs, bro. Wait till you get to Old Trafford. Zachary Purvis in the chat says, crazy to think if we finish the XG worth of these shots, Ralph would be looked at as our saviour. The tactics have been spot on. Just need the confidence. Performance and results don't line up, though. Yeah, I read somewhere on the internet, so it must be true, that we've created, I think, more chances since Ralph took over than any other club or something, or 160 chances I think we created. We've created a lot of chances, we just haven't been finishing them. Now, you can look at the manager, but I don't blame the manager for that. I think, for starters, his hands are tied in who's got available as a striker. Marcus Rashford's fallen off a cliff. I don't even think he's an out-and-out striker anyway. Mason Green was obviously unavailable. Edinson Cavani is constantly unavailable. Cristiano Ronaldo's 37. Anthony Martial has to leave. He wanted to leave, so he's gone on loan to Sevilla. A lot of people saying, well, you shouldn't let him go. But he wanted to leave. I mean, what do you do? Just force him to stay? Does that, a disillusioned, unhappy Anthony Martial, is that going to get you the goals that you need? Is he going to be able to perform like the way you want him? I don't know. You might have the answers. But I do feel a little bit sorry for Ralph Rangnick, and I don't think he's the issue at Manchester United. I think he's doing a good job, and I think that he's been let down by some finishing. It's just not good enough. You can look at, it was a great save, we were unlucky and all this other stuff, but we should be scoring more than, one goal against Middlesbrough in 2 hours of football. Was it one goal against Burnley or whatever? Just some of the results, you just feel like we should be doing more. We should be getting more goals. Only if it wasn't for Leeds, our goal difference would be poor. Stone 420 says, Jay, what happened at the sit-down board and fans? I'm not sure what's gone on there. We're trying to get an update on that. I know there's been a bit of a dialogue on it between board and fans. I don't know what the latest is on that. I'll find out and I'll have it for the brew. We're on the brew later on. So if there are any updates, we'll give you that. Andrew Smith says, give Ralphie Boyd a job. Does anyone think that? Does anyone think Ralph Rangnick's done enough to get the job? Oh, someone else does. Blade X Sound Breathing, but I can't even read his name, but he says Ralph should stay as manager. Gary Towers disagrees. Says Ten Hag in, no one else worth having. Rangnick is 10-1, by the way, in the odds, if you care about that sort of thing. I think Ancelotti was 20-1, so highly unlikely. But, you just don't know, do you? Monk Mike 93 says, honestly think Rashford needs to drop out of the team for a few weeks. Not out of badness to him, but for something clearly isn't right with him, and I just hope he comes through the other side. Yeah, I love Marcus Rashford almost as much as most of my children, but he's not been great, has he? Let's not kid ourselves, and it is worrying. I'd love him to turn it around against City and produce a match-winning performance, but he just looks like he just looks lost in a minute. He really does, and some of his performances have been as bad as I've seen him in a United shirt lately. So, yeah, hopefully he can turn that around. Abhinav Roy says, what's the status of Greenwood at the moment? I've not got any updates on that. We know there's an ongoing court case, an ongoing criminal investigation, so we have to be careful what we say. He is, suspended by the club. He's not playing for the club anyway, whether you class that as suspension, however you look at it, he's not available, he's not playing for the club, and that's an ongoing case. Nick says, if we can't get Ten Hag, then it should be Ralph. Would you have Ralph over Poch? There's a question. Because I'm not a massive Pochettino fan. Would I stick with Ralph? I probably wouldn't. I'd probably prefer Pochettino, but he's close. I said I'd have Ancelotti over Pochettino. Ancelotti's just won everything, hasn't he? And I know he's not long-term, but do we need to be a bit more honest about where we're at in life? I mean, how many managers since post-Fergie have done 3 seasons at this club? None. So, I don't know. Anatar says Ralph over Poch. Listen, I'm going to wrap it up there. Thanks to everyone who got involved in the comments and the chat. Don't forget to check out paddockmerch.com. We've got some lovely cups and also some new merch as well. We've got some new stuff on there, so go and check that out. If you're not doing, subscribe to the channel. Hit that subscribe button. Should be a link in the chat. Let's get to 700,000 subscribers by the end of the season. We've got a big game coming up this weekend. It's the Manchester Derby. So you can have myself, you can have Joe Smith. I think I'm going to have reaction from the likes of Stephen Alson, Andy Tate, Adam McCullough, all those people as well. We'll have the preview as well looking towards that game. And we're back tonight for the brew. That's 4 p.m. for the brew. Finally as well, go and check out the members section for a bit of extra content on there for our members. I've been Jay. This has been the Paper Talk. Thanks to everyone who got involved, and thanks for watching.